So, you are wanting and ready to change your partner. Well, stick around to the end because today we're going to give you the answer as to how to accomplish that here on the Home to Haven podcast. Hey everyone, so glad you've joined in on this week of the Home to Haven podcast. We are the Turners and we help couples communicate in their relationships so they can build a haven of peace and love. We're so grateful for you tuning in. Remember that if you've been looking or are looking for Christian tips on dating and marriage and counseling and coaching and how to get better or how to just stay good, you've found the right place. This is your home. Make sure you like and subscribe and continue to listen on all podcast outlets.
That's right. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for keeping those comments coming. Keep them coming. Let us know what topics you like the best, what you want to hear about more, and just give some examples of your situations as well. We love to do viewer questions and respond to what you need the most.
Absolutely.
So we are continuing with focusing on communication, of course, in our relationships. Today, we're going to move on to episode 37, and we're going to talk about wanting to change your partner, how to change your partner, should you change your partner, all about changing your partner.
We hear it a lot. We see it a lot about, hey, he was this way, and I really brought this out, or I'm really trying to, have him style his hair differently, or just da-da-da. Even physical stuff, change. So this is a great one. I can't wait to dive into changing.
Or even personality changes, or a lot of the times it'll be like you want to change the partner in the things that they're not doing, maybe around the house.
Right.
Or
how can I make my spouse do this? How can I make my spouse do that?
Right. So first of all, is it even okay to want your partner to change?
Oh, goodness. Okay. Right off the bat.
Or dive right in.
All right. So I want to see where we are in the relationship.
Okay.
If you're dating, should you want them to change? Absolutely not. If you're dating, then that's probably not the person for you.
Right. That's maybe a red flag to say, let's reevaluate the relationship.
Right.
Is this somebody that I can see myself in a marriage, a lifelong commitment with?
And we're talking about change. Well, I wish he was more proactive. I wish he was more of a go-getter. Or I wish she would do this. Or, okay, those are character things. Mm-hmm. And so...
I hear a lot, like, I wish he was more of a leader, or I wish that he would initiate taking us to church. I wish I wasn't the one that always had to do that. Now, in a dating relationship, that's something...
It's something you can't change. And, honestly, in a marriage, it's something you can't change. Okay. And it's something the woman shouldn't have to change. You may want it to change. The only person who can do that is God. The master, Abba Father himself.
Right.
The creator.
Right.
He's the one that has to have an encounter with God and the Holy Spirit to change, and because it's going to be his power, his presence. We in our own ability can't do it. What makes you think you can do it? Right? So it is not your responsibility to try to change someone and make them be something or do something that they're not doing. We're not the creator. We're not God, and we're trying to be God in their lives by saying, you need to step up. You need to do this. And they're getting frustrated, and you're getting frustrated. And so it's so very key that you allow God to do those things. And in the midst of it, what do? In the midst of it, well, you got to kind of eat it.
Okay.
Right?
So if you're already in a marriage relationship is what you're saying, right? Okay.
Were they a leader before and then they just stopped?
Right.
Well, there's a reason for that. We got to diagnose that and see what happened. Were they never a leader and they're still not a leader? And you were hoping that, well, when we got married, it's going to change. He's going to get better, or he's going to grow out of it. He's going to mature. When we get married, but right now he's playing video games. But I know he's going to step it up, and he hasn't because it's not in him. Okay. Right. So you want to watch those red flags, watch those yellow flags when you're dating, because they are who they are. What you see is what you get.
So could somebody desire that their partner change, right? But then their actions still need to be supportive of their husband or wife. For example, if they're not leading, and it's okay for the wife to desire that his...
Absolutely. I believe that's kind of ingrained. I believe, me personally, I think that's something that most women desire and that they want. They want to see their husbands leading them and being an example of a godly man and character and wisdom and security
Right.
and strength. I think they want to see those character leadership traits in him.
Right.
And so if those things aren't in there or not fully developed, you want to pray and pray that God connects him with, coaching like ours, that God connects him to strong men who can mentor him, get good examples, connect with his pastor or things like that. And, offer that support. And we also have taught like there's ways you can encourage leadership.
Right.
You can, hey, what is your opinion about this? Or what do you think timing wise you see this? I'd really love to hear, when you get a chance.
Right.
We have date night coming up because we schedule, we have date night coming up this week. I'd love to hear your heart about,
Right.
What God is speaking to you about our family,
Right. What we should do,
what we should do
where we should go.
about this.
Right.
And that's yielding. And that was sweet and loving. And,
Right.
it puts a little bit of pressure on him. He
Right.
might feel intimidated by that, but, it's good.
Right. And so in this particular case, the women are really getting those character traits right from the Bible.
Absolutely.
So that's where we're basing it on in terms of wishing they would change, as opposed to, well, I want him to switch his personality trait maybe around. But it's okay to desire those things that God has designed him to be and help him get to that place as well. So how can they really do that? Is
Patience.
of course.
It's going to require patience.
Okay.
And especially if you're young in your marriage, kind of just starting out, like you guys are going to grow together. You're not 100% where you need to be, right?
Right.
So allow grace one for another. You're both going to learn. You're both going to stumble. You're both going to, get back up and continue to walk together. It's a journey. And so you're both learning and developing in these skills that are going to be needed for a strong, successful marriage. Parents, if that's a desire of yours, you're going to need that and you're going to develop in that. So it's going to take patience because you're going to grow.
Right.
Now, you cannot change someone if, for instance, your personality is what I
Right.
cannot change. So if I want you to be going out hiking with me every weekend at Grandfather Mountain, and I want us to go rollerblading, and I want us to go four-wheeling
Skiing.
and skiing,
Right.
that's not you.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
So I can't change that, and I can't make you do those things.
Right.
And now, should you sacrifice sometimes in doing? Maybe.
Right. Well, and there's
Maybe. But, I knew that when I signed up, so I can't say, well, you know what, I want to do outdoorsy things, and, you should really do that for me. That's not
Right.
that's not me. If you want an outdoors person, get an outdoors person.
right. And
Or,
No, you're fine.
or was it a deal breaker? Is the fact that you're quiet and meek and loving, can I deal? Would I rather have that? Like for me, cooking's not a deal breaker. I can't make you cook. Why do you always do that? Right? But so for me, how your personality, you are quiet, you are supportive, you are loyal, you are extremely caring, you are giving. So for me, I'd rather have all of that
right.
versus a home cooked meal with some macaroni and cheese. Like, bump the macaroni and cheese, give me the service.
And I love to hear you say that.
Okay.
No, I was really just getting to the point of right. You're pointing out the characters, right? That you see the character traits from the Bible versus like you're not trying to change how
Okay, right.
what I wear or
Ooh,
well
that's a good one.
that
Really?
could, right.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's go there. Let's
Okay.
go there.
Okay.
So, how do you feel about that? And be 100% honest, because we haven't prepped this or practiced this.
Yeah, this wasn't the topic.
This is a real in our relationship where, okay, in all honesty, I didn't always like the way Jennifer dressed. Now,
Well, tell them why.
okay, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Wow. So, now, was it a deal breaker? No. Because again, your character and your personality, that's what attracted me. It really spoke to me and we click. Okay. Now, your dress, well, number one, it really didn't like attract me because it's like, okay, it was lots of blues, grays, and browns, and just solid colors. Like you probably never would have wore that shirt before I came into the existence. And I'm not gonna take pride, but and so I just what did I do? I didn't say you dressed horribly. I started buying you some clothes and said, "Hey, why don't you try this?" And
Yeah.
I also said, and also encouraged you. And I said, "Hey, you look really beautiful when you wear pastel colors. When you wear pink and purple, like it just brings out your skin tone." And I want you to have confidence in that. So I don't know if you didn't have confidence. I don't know if you were like kind of shy or bashful. But I was like, "Hey, like you really look beautiful."
Well, a couple of things. I wanted to point out that you didn't
Okay.
like how I dressed first. Like it wasn't something like I was dressing suggestively or
Okay.
something
No.
that wasn't in alignment with
Okay.
God's word, right?
Right. Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
You always dress modest.
Okay. So it
So I
wasn't
love
like,
that, and I respected that. You wasn't anything ripped or
cleavage,
cleavage or
short
whatever.
skirts, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that was my first, like, we'll tell
Okay.
them why you didn't like.
Okay.
And then second of all, we did talk about that. So we had communication about that.
Okay.
We asked each other a lot of questions. And so our styles weren't necessarily in alignment, but we're
Okay.
like, does that really truly matter? Like, does it
I
matter
remember
that
that. Okay.
I like more of the casual basketball type look and you're on the button up ties, but that's not
Right.
gonna discourage
I
me.
forgot about that. Yes. So it worked both ways because
Right.
she's more of a jock and I'm more of the prep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, maybe our styles weren't aligned, but our core character was aligned. And
Right.
to me, I can change my dress. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
truly matter to me.
Yeah.
When you're asking me like, why did I dress that way? I just am not a flashy person. So I
Correct.
just had more of modest, solid colors versus like huge earrings and like the long colorful nails and
Which is not me either.
Right.
And it also helped me gain understanding when I took courses and I went through personality training. And so when I learned how that analytical personalities are they're introverted typically, and they don't like flashy things typically, and they want more muted
Right.
colors typically. Oh, well, that's Jennifer in a T.
Right.
So it helped me gain further understanding of who you are, and again, that's who you are. It's your default, and so, and then I also communicated. I never wanted you to feel like I was trying to control you
Right.
or change you or say, "Hey, wear this shirt. You need to wear this because that's what I want you to wear."
Right.
Or I like this. Because women will do that. They'll change their hair color. They'll change their hairstyle because I want him to like me. I
Right.
want him to love me. I want him to do that, and that can be okay, and it also can be very, very dangerous.
Right. And I think I wasn't going to change, my dress to get you to like me.
Right.
Because I wanted you to like me for who I was,
100%.
which is how our relationship evolved into, well, we know that we love each other, their character and who we are, and we're aligned in our goals and what we want for our future and things like that. So when all those things are in alignment, if you were to say, well, I'd love to see you in a bright pink shirt because I think that, is super attractive. I don't take that as negative whatsoever. Right. I take that as, well, I would love, first of all, to be attractive towards you.
Okay.
So I would love to wear that just to please you, and just, that's nothing for me is downgrading or anything like that.
Right. You want to talk about that to the ladies? Do you feel like most ladies feel that's down, like it's degrading or
Well, I think it's different
manipulating or controlling, or how do you, as a woman, feel like other women see that when men are making those comments?
Well, I think it's
hopefully not men, but their significant other.
Well, I think it's different when you're in the dating relationship and somebody might be trying to make you be different than who you are, or
Right.
you think you have to change how you look in order to
Right.
attract somebody, because you want to attract somebody for who you are,
100%.
and who your character is and what your goals are and overall your spiritual alignment, right? So once you're in that relationship and have really made that connection, I think it's awesome to be like, what can I do to I mean, I keep coming back to the word please you, but,
Yeah.
Just to be a great wife, if it
Yeah.
just means to wear, a diamond bracelet, like, what is that
No,
to
I
me?
think it's awesome, because it's one of the things last episode we talked about being grateful. I didn't mention, but something that makes me it's so humbling is when I know there's probably nothing you won't do for me. It's extremely humbling, and so I'm super grateful for that. And so I pray that women who are listening can have that attitude of, and men, works both ways, of having a heart of a servant, and that I'm here to please my partner, and I'm here to make you happy, right? We don't want, the Bible talks about we will enjoy life and see good days. We don't want a haven. You don't want a household of, I don't want to go there.
Right.
I don't want to be home. She
Right.
is not for me. Or, you want to be like, man, that's all I need is my
Right.
boo. That's it.
Right. And for me, like, I knew you were always supporting me. You were uplifting me. You were never, trying to do anything to change me, to make me a different person. But,
Right.
You were always building me up. We're always on the same page. We're a team. We're working together. So things like that, even if it's just, I want you to change maybe your attitude or like
Right.
how you approach a situation, like, I trust you enough, and I know that you have the vision for our family and for me, and that I can trust that, okay, let me listen to what he's actually saying and not take that at surface value in terms of, well, he's trying to make me do something different. He's trying to make me be somebody I'm not. I can really trust that you have the true,
Right.
Underlying positive help behind that.
And that goes back to character. Do you trust that this is a guy who truly follows God's heart? Because if that's the case, you trust the God in him
Right.
versus him, and I trust the God in you versus just you.
Right.
And so one of the things that I may have said is like, hey, when you approach the situation, you want to do this, and it's spiritual. So change this because the word says this.
Right.
I've done that. I do want to go back and point out and say, because you said something key, if you're feeling like you're not yourself, I experienced that. I
Yeah.
experienced like that. I had to change my personality, or I had to be some way, and I was kind of being fake. I wasn't being my true, authentic self. I was holding back my personality,
Right.
or I was had to wear something that I normally wouldn't kind of wear. It was kind of uncomfortable, right? You don't have to change who you are to get someone to love you, to get
100%.
somebody to be with you.
Right.
Don't ever do that. And if you're feeling that way, that is a red flag.
Right.
That's a red flag to stop and turn around and go away, because that can lead to abuse. That can lead to, so many things and avenues long term down the road that you really want to escape now while it's okay. So I do want to put that out there. You don't have to change who you are to get someone to love you.
Right. And you can find somebody. God has somebody
He absolutely has
specifically
somebody.
for you that will align with you, that will love you for who you are, right? That will love those things that other people said, you need to switch
Why
this.
do you have all those, figurines and toy
Right.
cars? Grow up. That's stupid.
Right.
Right. Well, there's someone who loves that.
There is.
There's someone who's going to have their own car collection, and you guys will be right there together,
Right.
building stuff, right? Just something small like that.
Right.
It will never put you down, degrade you, or condemn you, or make
Right.
you feel small.
Right.
Because the person God has for you is always going to elevate you, always going to lift
100%.
you up, always
Right.
going to build you up,
Right.
and encourage you and strengthen you and push you forward into what God has for you.
Right. And you need to be humble enough to listen to that, because a lot of the times you might hear something from your partner and your initial reaction is like,
Okay.
why are you trying to boss me around, or why are you trying to change me? But if you're in a true committed relationship where both of you are following Jesus, like, you should be able to trust your spouse
Right.
that what they're saying is for your good ultimately.
Right, absolutely. So for a recap, you can't change anyone, number one, okay? So that should never be your goal or your priority or your mission. You can't change people. What you can do is that you can change, and you can allow God to develop things in you and your character, and you can grow and be more of what God has you to be.
That's right. You can love people, right, without the expectation of what are they going to do back for me,
Right.
or how are they going to love me back. You can show that love that God shows us.
Right. I was going to say, well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you haven't heard the episode, there's a line whenever we marry people and we say, hey, God's love doesn't say, do you love me?
Okay.
Sorry, God's love doesn't say, I love you, but do you love me? God's love says, I love you. That's all it ever says. And so I can love you and not be with you. I can love you and we don't work out. I can love you and not expect anything in return because it's God's agape love. So who you are, I can respect and receive that. Whether it's for me or not for me, I can still receive and accept you.
That's right. You can work towards getting that love, renewing your mind in the Word every day, praying, taking that actual time to pray and spend time in God's Word is how you will be developing that.
Hope this helped and you got something to gain from it. We'd love to know your reaction to what we shared. Put it in the comments below. You can always email us at hi@oakhavencompany.com. And we'd love to hear from you again. Listener comments are always our favorites. Feel free. We have two things. First is to join our e-newsletter list, email list, where once a week on Thursdays, we send one email once a week.
That's right.
And you're able to be first in line to receive updates and news. We send encouraging articles that we've written, just a quick little shimmy.
Quick little snippet. But yes, our email subscribers will be first to know when things are coming out and get exclusive discounts.
Absolutely. So you want to go to oakhavencompany.com. Right there in the middle of the website, you can sign up. Again, we email you once a week, or you can obviously click the links in the description below. If you liked what we talked about, you're not wanting to change someone, but you want to learn more about who they are, what makes them tick. You heard me talk about personalities. We've got those questions. Help you figure that out. It's called 180 Questions to Know Your Partner in 6 Months. So this is a self-paced, self-guided video course, over 2.5 hours of content that Jennifer and I, we sit down on our chairs with a desk and we go through 100, well, not 180 questions, but we go through questions. We go through 6 categories. We talk about why it's important to ask questions, what happens when you do have a disagreement. We talk about when to ask questions, how to ask the questions, everything you need step by step to know your partner. It's contained in this course. You want to get it today.
That's right. That's for dating relationships, and it's also for marriage relationships.
Absolutely.
So if you've been in a marriage for years, you can always learn more about your partner, right? And you can always realign, make sure that you may think you know what they're going to say to the questions, but realign your relationship. There's a 51-page workbook that you can download that goes along with it as well, where you can really work out your relationship goals. You can assess where you're at currently. There's worksheets, questions, a whole bunch of things.
All kind of things. So you want to go to oakhavencompany.com. You will see the third icon, and you can click that. It's 180 questions, or oakhavencompany.com/180, and get it today. The link is in the description as well. And again, whether you take the course in a week or whether you take your time and go through 4 months or 6 months for that matter, it's self-paced, and it is chock full of wisdom and amazing content. You will be so glad you did. So check that out today. We thank you so much for tuning in, listening on all the podcast outlets or on YouTube. Remember, if you got anything today, please like, please subscribe, and we will see you on next week. God bless.